has said that there is a quorum, so we can hold an official virtual meeting. It is December 16th, 2020 at 7:01 p.m. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to welcome introductions and opening remarks. We're going to do something a little different tonight, and hopefully each month moving forward. The Regional Plan Committee had a good idea that we should have a couple of our commissioners give a brief introduction of themselves each meeting, so that over a year's time, you know, we're all participating, but maybe we'll get to know each other just a bit better, and especially that it's virtual. The hope was that the Regional Plan Committee would be the first to go, since it was their recommendation, and some of them will. I'm also going to fill in some space. But first, let's run through a quick go through the names quickly so we can record who's here. It'll also give us a chance to go through the sound check. So I will ask each name, and then if you could just declare here. Egan Murphy.
Here.
Alton Brusso. Terry Tatro. Bill Irwin.
Here.
Hi, Bill. Vincent Hickey.
Here.
Claude Sharon.
He's in Florida.
Phone lines reach all the way down there. Leonard
You're right.
Sharon. Leonard Sharon. Sean Keogh.
Here.
Did I pronounce that correctly?
Kyo.
Kyle, thank you. Colleen Steen.
Ooh, Colleen.
Brad.
Brad had a conflict this evening.
Alicia LaRock. Brian Doobie.
Here.
Lynn Douglas.
Here.
Lori Rupel.
Here.
Yvonne Danduran.
Vaughn had a conflict tonight.
Thank you. Wesley Kempton.
Here.
Scott St. Ange.
Here.
Brad Morris. Barkley Morris, I mean. I know I saw him. Or I thought I did.
He's here somewhere. There he is.
Howard Demers.
Yeah.
Richard Noel. Sylvia Jensen.
Here.
Paul Hinman.
He has actually left town, sold his property, so I would put him down as no longer a commissioner.
Thank you. Charlie Hancock. Andy Alling.
Here.
Rowena Brown.
Here.
Jeff Kane. Joe Farnham.
Here.
Bob Berman.
I'm here.
Marty Manahan. Laz Skangas. Sarah Hadd. Alvin Vogel.
Here.
Harold Garrett.
Here.
Ross Lavoie. Elizabeth Nance.
Here.
And Neil Spear. So we do have a quorum. So we'll move
Kirk,
forward.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I admitted Colleen. Colleen has arrived as well from Fairfax.
Thank you.
You let me in, that's so nice of you.
So, as I said, the Regional Plan Committee came up with an idea that I think we should explore. It sounds like a good idea to me, where a few people each meeting will do a brief introduction of themselves. Tonight, the hope is that it will be Lynn, Douglas, Elizabeth, if she's prepared to do that, and myself as a filler. Not that I'm on that committee, but we wanted to have at least 3 for a meeting, and we didn't get an opportunity to connect with others.
Can you guys hear me?
So, Lynn, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Shit.
Hi.
Yeah, we heard you, Noel.
Well, I live in Fletcher, and I live about as far from Lori as you can possibly live if we both live in Fletcher. But I live off the grid on a class 4 road, and my husband and I live with our daughter, son-in-law, and 16-month-old granddaughter. So that means we're cooking 3 meals a day for 5 people and cleaning up, and that is a lot of our time at this moment. But I also do some things with our church, which is a little harder now because of COVID, and I do gardening, and I do a lot of things with herbs, and just chasing the baby these days.
Thank you.
Can you guys,
Elizabeth, would you like to go?
can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
We can.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm having trouble with the computer, that's why I didn't know.
Well, we heard a word you.
Oh, that's when I was having trouble with the computer.
Yeah.
We
We
all
got,
knew you were having trouble of some type.
yeah.
My mouse is dead.
Was that a prompt for me to go, Kurt?
Yes, please, Elizabeth.
Okay. So Elizabeth Nance, I moved up to Swanton in 2012. So it's been about 8 years. Moved from Mississippi, which is why I still say fixin' and y'all. I am the economic development coordinator for the town and for the Franklin County Industrial Development Corporation. So I get the regional, between those 2 jobs and being a commissioner, I get the local and regional flavor. As I think I reported at some recent meeting, because I was wicked excited, I'm going to finish my master's degree. I'm a thesis away. That'll be done in May. And then because I don't know why, I'm going to go for my doctorate in UVM. Has a brand new program in, they couldn't have picked a longer name. It is something about sustainable. Oh, I don't even remember the name of it, but it'll be great. And I'll make you call me Dr. Nance at some point. And you see a little kitty in the corner. I don't know where he went, but I am owned by 3 cats.
We see one peeking in.
Yeah, that's Henry.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So I'm Kirk Waite. I am one of the representatives from Georgia to the Northwest Regional Planning Commission. I've been married for 38 years to my wife, Mary. I have 3 daughters, and I'm the proud papa of 4 grandchildren so far. I have very deep roots in Vermont. I'm a 4th generation Vermonter, and my daughters are raising the 6th generations here. My local volunteer participation has included many, many years of coaching youth sports, mainly soccer and fast-pitch softball when my kids were younger. I was on the Georgia Planning Commission for more than 5 years and spent many, many years on the Georgia Select Board. I've been on the Regional Planning Commission for 13 years. I'm currently retired, but not traveling nearly as much as I'd hoped due to COVID-19. I worked at IBM for 34 years and Global Foundry for 5. And that did give me a chance to see much of the world during my career. I have many, many hobbies, most of them outdoor. skiing, hiking, mountain biking, running, golf, and gardening, to name a few. And it's been a pleasure to get to know some of you, and I hope to get to know some of you even better. So Catherine will reach out to others between now and the next meeting, or if you are prepared to just give a brief introduction, please get a hold of her. Like I said, we'd like to do 3 or 4 per meeting to give us an opportunity to get to know one another just a little bit better. You know, we all serve, we all participate in a lot of things. It's nice if you can walk away knowing a few people better as well. This is normally a meeting where we get together and share and break bread together and celebrate the successes of the year. 2020 is certainly a year we won't forget, but most of us wish we could. If there's nothing else under opening remarks, we'll move on to opportunity for public comment. Would anybody like to comment? Hearing none, we'll move on to minutes of the October 2020 meeting. They were enclosed in your packet. Any errors or omissions?
I move that we accept the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Go ahead. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 No, nays? Motion passes. Thank you very much. So
Excuse me, Kirk.
for our year-end review, yes. Yes.
Just like to note for the record that I'll abstain since I missed the last meeting.
Okay. Great.
Thank
I
you.
forgot to ask for abstentions, didn't I? So agenda item 5 is a presentation, year-end review. Our plan here is that we will have the chairs of the Finance, Personnel, Project Review, and Regional Plan give a brief overview of what they've accomplished or done in their committees during the year, and then staff will go through and highlight some of the projects that they've supported to help our region and our towns. So why don't we start with Finance, Harold?
Thank you, Kirk. And Catherine, I didn't get your email till about 10 minutes before the meeting, so I didn't get it. But anyways, the Finance Committee meets about 4 times a year, unless there is something that's really pressing. And we overlook the budget that Catherine and her staff have put together, and she breaks down the complete format of the budget and what everything that's on the budget, what the expenses are, what we can expect to get, what we can expect to pay out, and all of our contracts that we have. And she asked for our input. We also overlook the spending that goes on, like the building improvements. We meet over that with the executive committee is usually involved in that to make sure, in the building committee, and to make sure that everything is being spent to get $1.15 out of a dollar. We have some very frugal people that's on my finance committee. I thought I was the tightwad of the group, but I found that I've got a couple that are even tie that purse string a little tighter than I do. And
More conservative.
more conservative, there you go. And that's not a bad thing, but at the end of the meeting, I think that we listen to everybody's input on what we plan on spending or what the budget looks like. And we usually come to a consensus and after a little deliberation. And Catherine has always been very courteous to us and doesn't say, hey, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. She understands because she's probably the most conservative of the whole group. And thank you, Catherine, for being that, because that's what keeps our organization going. Because if we just spent money like it was on the tree outside, eventually the leaves are going to fall like they do in the fall. That being said, it won't take a lot of time, but we looking, if anybody would like to join our committee, we always have more rooms, more chairs to go around the table, and we would look forward to that. Our accomplishments, I think, Catherine, you can maybe a little more, but we looked over the money that we would need to start, like the Healthy Roots, I believe that's what it's considered as. The improvements at our building to get them done. We overlooked with the executive committee the hiring of some new personnel at the Northwest Regional Planning, and we make sure, I hope that everybody realizes that we make sure that our commission and Catherine's office out there have what they need to do the job that they do, which is 110%. So that being said, we look forward to having anybody join our commission.
Thank you, Harold. Personnel Committee?
Personnel Committee, back in the before times when I could enjoy Catherine's broccoli cheese soup at meetings and I look forward to my pizza. But anyway, back in January, February, we did a lot of interviews for a new regional planner position, and we ended up hiring Emily Kloft as our regional planner. And she was the AmeriCorps person, so she didn't officially start until her AmeriCorps service was over. I think that was in August. But she's been doing that job, and I think that's going very well. Since then, we had also the committee had advised on the hiring of a Healthy Roots coordinator and a CARES Act special projects planner. We don't do the interviews or make any direct input, although we can, but we leave it up to the staff and we leave it up to Catherine to make those hiring decisions. The evaluations that we normally were delayed a little bit because of the coronavirus and everything being pushed back a little, and the staff working from home. It was harder to get the evaluations done, but those were all completed this fall of all the staff. And then occasionally at our meetings, we would, if Catherine needed guidance or asked for guidance or advice on some personnel issues or items, then we would advise her accordingly. And that was 2020.
Thank you, Lori. Regional Plan, Lynn?
Okay. Well, the next regional plan is due in 23. So we've started talking about what might be different in the next regional plan. And we talked a lot about justice, diversity, and equity, increased planning possibly for emergencies. As we know, there seem to be emergencies. There have been a lot of changes in energy policies and what the energy scene looks like. There's a big tech gap, as we know. Access to technology is dependent on education and money and the infrastructure, housing, education. So we're talking about a lot of things, and Catherine's helping us contact some people to discuss some of the stakeholders, and that's what we're doing.
Thank you. And project review, did Alicia join us?
Kirk, I didn't see Alicia in the participant list. I can step in for her if you don't mind.
That'd be great, Phil. Thank you.
Sure. So I'm the vice chair of the committee, that Alicia LaRocque chairs, and it's an excellent committee. Our primary roles are to evaluate significant projects in the region and compare the attributes of that project to the regional plan and verify that the project is in keeping with our regional plan, and if it's of significant regional impact, to ensure that those impacts are balanced with all the other elements of our regional plan. The primary kinds of projects that we review are the Act 250 commercial and development projects of significant scale. Those are often quite interesting. We get to see the kinds of development occurring in all of our towns in the region. And probably the most interesting of all are the energy projects for Section 248 of Act 250, whereby we learn about wind power projects, solar power projects, and solid waste digester energy projects. And it's a vibrant committee that really puts the applicants through their paces to make sure that they understand what our regional goals are. And typically when we give our recommendations, they're met, and it means a better project for our region. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. And Catherine, I'll let you take over the order at which you'd like to call each of the staff for their year-end review.
I'm just letting one more person in, and then I am going to start. So I'm going to share my screen because I have a brief presentation I'm going to give, and then we'll scroll through, and each staff person has a page where you can see a picture of them and some words that talk about their favorite projects of 2020 and what they're looking forward to for 2021. And when I put the staff member up, you can say hi and maybe let folks know how long you've been at the commission, because there's some pretty impressive numbers in when we go through the presentation.
Thank you.
So. All right. So at last month's October's board meeting, you heard about a report from Healthy Roots, and I thought it was a really great connection to talk about decisions that the board makes and then what's happened because of that. And I'll give credit to Lynn for suggesting that it's really important to always tie in the decisions that the board makes and understand how they impact the region and the work that the staff does. So I just picked a couple of areas that I wanted to highlight tonight to just talk about in a little more detail. As you know, if you've been on the board for a while or even a short time, you know, about every other meeting or every few meetings, we'll go through a process where our municipal plan review committee will review a plan and make sure it meets all the requirements of state statute and make sure it matches with the regional plan and the neighboring local plans. And then we'll approve that plan, and then we'll grant confirmation, which means we're confirming that local plans are, that local planning is actually happening in the community. Now, as a result, it's kind of an administrative task that we do often, and we compliment the towns, and it recognizes the culmination of a lot of work at the local level. But I thought it would be important to highlight what happens as a result of that. So when a town is confirmed and has a regionally approved municipal plan, they're eligible for municipal planning grants. That's one of the great benefits. And so as a result of all of your actions approving plans and confirming planning efforts in the last couple of years, I just wanted to highlight some of the projects that were funded as a result. Alberg is about to embark on a recreation plan focusing on unused land in their industrial park. St. Albans City is about to embark on a housing plan to look at how they can add more density in the city. Sheldon is, it's on hold right now, but we'll be restarting a recreation plan. North Hero just completed a village master plan process, and it's in the final stages there. Swanton did a recreation plan. Fairfield's working on a town plan in the final stages, and South Hero is working on redeveloping their old meeting house. So as a result of the actions that you took, towns were eligible for apply for grants and do some really great projects. This one has a long history, and I thought it would be nice to take a moment to really look back. There's a 6-county economic development district in the northern part of the state, Northern Vermont Economic Development District. And that district is certified by the federal government. In the early 2000s, the nonprofit organization that managed that district ceased operations. And this board took the initiative to support the district by actually dedicating, I think it was $5,000 of our budget to hire somebody to help untangle the nonprofit and keep the district certification going at the federal level. We used those funds to hire somebody to do that work with us and with the former board members. We then continued with your support to work on maintaining the district, work with our neighboring regional development corporations and regional planning commissions to come up with an MOU to share management of the district. And now NRPC serves as the fiscal agent for the district. All of this is a lot of administrative stuff we take care of to keep that district valid at the federal level. And as a result of that, there's funding that comes to this region and to the other 6 counties in the district, funding for ongoing economic development planning. There's eligibility for infrastructure grants and technical assistance grants. One great example of that is Fairfax got an infrastructure grant to extend water and sewer lines to serve Runamuck Maple, which is going to be a huge job creator in that town. We were able to get a disaster resiliency grant to support work by Healthy Roots to support our farms and food businesses and work with our communities on disaster preparedness. We are able to work with the Northern Border Regional Commission program to serve as a technical assistance point for the region and for the whole 6 counties to help our communities and nonprofits with Northern Border Regional Commission's grant. And then finally, with the Kirk, we were eligible for and applied for and received $400,000 grant to serve the 6 northern counties across 2 years. And with that, we have tremendous added capacity with, we hired a special projects person, the Northeastern Vermont Development Association also did, and our regional development corporations were able to expand their technical assistance capacity as well to help with economic recovery projects. And in an interesting twist of fate, the person that we hired to help untangle the Economic Development Council of Northern Vermont actually became the person we hired to be our special projects coordinator for the EDA CARES grant. So her work rewarded her in the end, many, many years later. So then finally, I want to talk about Brownfields Redevelopment. This is also a very long project that we've been working on since 2003. And at a future board meeting, we'll have Greta give a more detailed presentation about the successes of this program and what else can be done in the future. But with about $4 million in EPA grants, we've invested in a lot of projects in the region, but this board specifically was willing to use our budget from other grants to cover all of the overhead expenses, which until last year were not an eligible expense under this grant. Now it is, which is great. And then also the board was willing to take a chance and serve as a host for a revolving loan fund, which was something new for us. And as a result of that, we've been able to use that $4 million in grants to do 22 cleanup assessments on properties, to do area-wide, which is like master planning and economic development examination for 3 communities. And we've done cleanup grants and loans as well. And as one example, the former Fonda site in St. Albans City, which we did help pay for the assessment on earlier, was recently given a mix of grants and loans. And the redevelopment of that site will help to retain 63 jobs in the area. So I just wanted to hit on some of those highlights as some things that are really important that couldn't be accomplished without the support of the board. And then there's other things that the board is able to contribute because of your municipal commitment and your municipal connections. And I wanted to highlight a couple of those. With the pandemic response, we as staff knew that even though the board hadn't met to have a conversation and tell us we could, that it was okay to pivot and just serve the needs of our communities and put other projects on hold, because we knew that the board has a long-standing commitment to meeting the needs of our municipalities. You've, as a board, have been consistently supportive of all of the recovery efforts that our staff have been involved in and that your own communities have been involved in. And specifically, you're willing to step up and allow staff time and to help the Communications Union District get off the ground, and voted to serve as a fiscal agent, which was a huge help for the district because it's all volunteers right now. So without the support of this board, they would be in a very different place. And without all of the hard work of Sean Caio as well, who's one of our commissioners. And then because of your local connections and your understanding of the local needs, there's a few just interesting things that happen, like the tire disposal issue that Yvonne brought to us. We were able to make that connection with the solid waste district and make some changes in Green Up Day and how they address tire disposal. With your interest in supporting agriculture, we knew when Healthy Roots came up and needed a new home that you would be on board and you're willing to take that on. And your commitment to water quality has led to our region in 2021 will start being a clean water service provider, and almost an arm of state government to help implement on the ground clean water projects. And then your willingness to focus on public health and prevention as part of community planning led us to do the municipal guide to prevention, which has been used and shared widely across the state and with our communities. In the coming year, we're going to focus on many of our ongoing projects, but I did want to mention a couple of things. First is the Northwest Regional Foundation, which we did establish over a year ago. The pandemic has really derailed our efforts to build that foundation and do some projects related to the foundation. So we're hoping in 2021, we'll be able to have a renewed focus on that. And some other new items, I mentioned the clean water service provider. We'll also be working with our communities to help support them as needed to implement the new cannabis legislation and the local options that are available to municipalities. And then finally, we will be working on justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion, and how that relates to our work at the Regional Commission. Does anybody have questions for me?
Thank you, Catherine.
All right. So next, we're going to talk about some staff highlights. So staff, for those of you who are here, when I come to your page, if you want to just say hi and just maybe let folks know how long you've been at the commission. Here's Amy.
Good evening. January, I'll be moving into my 18th year at the commission, and it still feels like a brand new job to me.
Thanks, Amy. Emily.
Hi, everyone. It was 23 years in September, so I've been here a while.
I did know we had some pretty impressive numbers among our staff. Linda.
Hi, everyone. I've been here for 2 years.
Only 2?
Yeah, a little more than 2, but you know, I left and came back, so there's that.
Oh, that's great. That's why it seems. Linda did work for us on a temporary job prior to her job now. Boy.
Hi, everyone. I feel like a baby. 1 year.
But not 1 year with Healthy Roots.
No, almost 4 years with Healthy Roots.
Hi guys, I'm Luke. By virtue of being in AmeriCorps, I have only been at NRPC for 3 or 4 months, but definitely enjoying my time here so far.
Thank you, Luke. Adele?
Hi, everyone. I've been here for about a year now.
Adele came to us with a 6-week internship, which has stretched out to a year, so it's been great. And Greta.
Hi, everyone. Nice to see everyone tonight. I've been here, I think, for 17 years now.
I just saw that number today. I thought that was great. And Sean.
Hi, everyone. I have been with the commission not as long as Emily Adams, but a little bit longer than Greta.
Thanks, Sean. Amanda.
Hello, I've been with the commission for, it'll be eight years in the spring, so I don't know if that makes me not be a newbie anymore.
And Peter. Peter, that's right. I remember Peter couldn't come tonight. He was working with a mentee that he has in the mentor program. And Peter's been with the commission for just about 2 years. And Mike.
Everyone, been here for about 10 months now.
Great, thanks, Mike.
Hi, yeah, I joined as an AmeriCorps in August 2019 and then was hired full-time this past August, so I've been about a year and a half total.
Thank you, Emily. Kathy, is this your first board meeting as well?
It is, as an employee of NRPC. I am so humbled to be part of this team. I have officially been with them for only 3 months, not even quite 3 months. So it's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Christine.
I've been with NRPC since the end of August, so I guess like almost 4 months at this point.
Great. Thank you, Christine. I love your picture. And Bethany.
Good evening, everyone. It's Bethany, and I'm closing in on 19 years. Tax day.
And this is me. I don't actually know how long I've been at the commission. It's been a really long time.
26 years, because we celebrated your 25th last year.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Elizabeth. You got that great cake. That was so sweet. So 26 years. Thank you. And Mark.
Hello. I'm also an AmeriCorps, just like Luke. So I started at the end of August. So I'm 4 months into NRPC.
Thank you, Mark. I'll email that out to everybody as well, because I know you probably didn't have time to read everybody's highlights as we went through it, but I will share that via email. But as you can see, we really have an amazing team, a team that is growing. It seems like every time we do this, our team grows. But I think the value that we get has grown even greater. And we really have an amazing team. And it may have been 26 years, but it's always new and changing and different. And with a great board and a great team of staff, it's a really great organization to be part of. So thank you, everybody.
So are you going to send that presentation out, Catherine?
I will. I will email that out to everybody.
Great.
Could I make a quick comment that when I first joined regional planning, I believe the staff numbered 2, Catherine and Sharon, back in the early 90s. And it's amazing what Catherine has done as director and grown this into such a powerful force. And we should all be very, very proud of her.
Thank you, Barclay. It wouldn't be possible without the support of the board.
And Catherine, were you going to do anything else under year-end review?
No, that concludes my presentation.
Okay. I was actually hoping that we'd get to hear each of them speak just a bit, but maybe next year. Next item on the agenda is recognition of staff and commissioners. This is generally where in our year end we talk about people who have hit a 5 or 10 year type milestone. But I would just like to recognize, and I hear it often from people in towns, people out in business, and from each of you, really want to thank the staff. We have a very talented and dedicated staff. They're a great resource to our region and the towns in the region. We as a commission, they as individuals can make a difference and do make a difference and have a positive influence on the region and the towns. And I want to thank all of you for your dedication and effort and wish you all happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate this time of year. We don't have a lot. We do have a few recognition. Alicia LaRock has celebrated her 5th year. Terry Tatro, this is a bit of an odd one. He's celebrating 5 years with Alberg Village, but he's been with the commission for 37 years in support of Alberg Town.
37 years. Wow. Wow.
And Bob Berman is 10 years. So those are the only official milestones. But you know, it's great that we have long-term members. It's also good that I see some regular turnover of members that can bring in fresh ideas, fresh energy, and it's been enjoyable to see that as well. So thank you for all of you newbies and for those of you who have been a steady and calming influence on the overall commission over the last many years. Does anyone else want to say anything under recognition of staff and commissioners?
No.
We do have one action item or potential action item for this evening. I believe it was Al at the Regional Plan Committee that made a recommendation that the NRPC consider reallocating a portion of our board meeting food expenses to contribute to a regional food shelf or other charitable food organization. As I talked to Catherine a little bit about this, it evolved a little bit into, but I'm open for ideas, that we use what we normally would have spent on our meal event for this meeting, which is usually around $500, and that we contribute that to Martha's Kitchen on behalf of the Regional Planning Commission. Al, do you want to speak a little bit, since it was your original idea?
Is Al here?
He is, but
Okay.
I see he's muted.
Yeah, I just unmuted. So Kurt, is this in addition to my proposal?
No,
The
this is how your proposal evolved.
Oh, how it evolved, okay.
Before I'm sorry, I'm just going to interrupt for a second because Kirk, when I was wrong when I told you the amount for the annual dinner, it's actually around $1,200. Amy corrected me.
So, you know, I'm open to anything that the board is open to, obviously, but the thought was $500. If we want to move that to another number, that's okay too. You know, normally we would have used it to celebrate staff and all of us at a year-end event. In these times with COVID-19 and some of the food struggles that people are having, the thought was to contribute it to Martha's Kitchen or some other food charity.
Okay, so as a contributor to Martha's Kitchen, I agree with that concept. However, we are supported by all the municipalities within the 2-county area. And it seems to me when we're talking about hunger, we have people hungry throughout every town in our Northwest region. So my thought is to somehow or other give that money to an organization which supports all the municipal or township type of food shelves as a way of distributing what we get from the towns back to the towns and their people who are in need of food support during this epidemic. And the alternative of that, but there's no regional organization to do that, than to search out the food shelves in the 2-county area and allocate money to each of them. The Martha's Kitchen is doing an excellent job. They also are seemingly well supported. I am aware that some of the smaller food shelves, like in Richford and Sheldon, are having more difficulty raising money to meet their needs. So again, I get back to, we get our money from everybody in the 2-county area. I think we need to support everybody in the 2-county area.
I would concur with that.
Yeah, and Catherine and I kicked that around a bit. I'm not sure exactly how we could do that. We could just approve of the concept and let somebody go off and figure it out. You know, I think some food shelves, I'm involved a little bit and aware of a few food shelves in towns. Some of them are doing fantastic. It's amazing the amount, how generous people have been through this pandemic, but some may not be doing so well. And I personally don't know which ones are in need. You know, maybe whoever decides they want to take this on could do it based on population. Not every town has a food shelf, but every town, you know, I know very few towns kick you out if you come from another town. They just try and get you located back to your original one. You know, Catherine, is there somebody on the team that could, you know, take $1,000 and distribute it maybe evenly across the towns in the region?
I'm not Catherine, but maybe I should let Catherine talk.
Oh, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Go ahead, Elizabeth.
I was just going to say, through the Working Communities Challenge, Adele, reached out to, I believe it was Adele, reached out to quite a few of the food shelves. So she has that relationship. So I'm not suggesting she did. I don't know what her capacity is, but I think we do have some contacts. So if she has the capacity and or needs some assistance, I think as a board commissioner, I would certainly support her.
Mm-hmm. Do we know how many food shelves there are in the region?
We do, yes.
How many are there?
I don't know the number off the top of my head. I think it's about 10. Is that right, Adele?
I believe it's 12.
Oh.
I have a spreadsheet from the Working Communities Challenge with all of the food shelves in Franklin and Grand Isle, so I could easily refer to that, and I have all the contact information in a spreadsheet as well for them, so that would be easy for me to pull up and to start communicating.
We wouldn't get fortunate enough to have 12 when we have $1,200.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like it's lining up perfectly, right? So it sounds like, Al, that this has evolved into the Northwest Regional Planning Commission sending a donation of $100 to each of the active food shelves in our region.
That sounds fantastic. Thank you.
If you need a motion, am I jumping the gun?
I would like a motion to that effect.
I will make the motion that Barclay's hand is up.
Go ahead. I'll add my 2 cents during discussion.
So I'll make a motion that we provide $100 donation to each of the 12, assuming that's the number. So we'll just say we'll make a $100 donation to each of the food shelves in Franklin and Grand Isle County.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
So we've got a motion, a second. Discussion. I know Barclay, you're one.
Admitting the fact that some of them seem to have been receiving a big uptick in donations, and that some of them may be struggling, I would kind of hope that we could put our money where it is going to do the most good. If we can determine which food shelves really desperately need the money, a $300 or $400 donation to one of those is probably going to have a bigger effect than a $100 donation to each and every one.
Yeah, I just think that's going to be easier said than done. Part of it will be on, you know, who the leader of the food shelf is and how optimistic or pessimistic they might be. I just don't know how to get to that answer, Barkley.
You're probably right. I hate to see it get watered down so it's not making a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is $100 or $200 isn't going to make a big difference in any food shelf, but to all of them, it signals that they're getting support from the Regional Planning Commission, that we know about them and we're thinking of them. That's kind of what I see, you know.
Yep.
And obviously that $100 will go into somebody's stomach at the end of the day.
You'll get my aye vote.
Okay. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I got just one question. Have we done this before?
I don't think so.
Hasn't been
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I don't remember anything like that.
The reason I'm asking is, and I support this, you know, giving it away, but I don't want it to come back and bite us, seeing this as taxpayer money.
Well, I think we'll have to do a budget adjustment, and, you know,
No, what I'm saying is, like, and you've been in town politics, I've been in town politics, I've been in state politics. Can get really nasty when you start using taxpayer money.
it can, but you know what? I would have no problem looking someone in the eye and saying, I put it into someone else's stomach instead of my own.
I understand that, but I just don't want, you know, it to come back to bite us. That's why I'm asking if we've done this before.
Well, we'll do it the next
Giving it
time
to a
we have a
nonprofit, because it's against the law to distribute taxpayer money.
I would say that if you're setting a policy, the next time we have a pandemic, we'll do it again. I wouldn't worry, Harold, about any government coming after us for spending this taxpayer money. I think it's a humanitarian gesture, and if they want to put anybody in jail, I'll volunteer to go.
Yeah, this is Bill Irwin. I just wanted to say thanks to Albie for bringing this up. It's not only a great thing for our commission, but it's a great measure of how good a person he is. And I'm really proud to know him. And I really thank you for thinking this way out.
Welcome.
And it could always be allocated for food, because that's what it was allocated for.
Right.
True.
That's correct.
I would have to question anybody that complains about us donating to food shelves. That would be kind of interesting.
But it's under the food category, so we're covered.
Yeah.
I think Richard's got it. We're straight.
All right, so I'm going to ask for a vote then. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you. And Al, I would like to also thank you for thinking of this and bringing it to us.
You're very welcome, Kurt.
Next item is commissioner announcements. Does anyone have anything they'd like to do during that time? Hearing none. Catherine, is there any other business that we need to conduct? Oh, I've got someone waving their hand. Go ahead.
I realize that I'm digressing a little bit, but I would, on behalf of the town of Grand Isle, I know we utilize the West Regional Planning Commission a lot to help us with ideas and plans that we're trying to make for the town. And on behalf of my town, I would love to thank the staff and Catherine for all you guys have done for the town of Grand Isle.
Thank you.
I'll second that from Grand
No,
Isle.
thank them.
Maybe she's spending too much time with Grand Isle. Get back in Franklin.
This is totally unrelated, but it is a joy in my life. The America's Cup begins in Auckland, New Zealand tomorrow. A friend of mine who lives in the Mad River Valley is part of that team. Hopefully they'll be able to bring the cup back home. But these are 50 to 100 foot sailboats that sail at as much as 92 kilometers an hour, and it's under wind power. So if anybody has a chance to pick up any of that over the next couple of weeks, I think you really enjoy it.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays, everyone, and thank you for all that you do. It's been a very odd year for us trying to meet like this. My apologies if I cut anyone off short in these meetings. I don't have a lot of practice with them with a diverse group like this. Hearing nothing else, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Oh.
So moved.
Sounds like I've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Have a great night.
Have a good holiday.
Happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Yes.